Well, here's a story that we have that someone had sent in. I'm going to have to paraphrase some of it, but she said, "My husband and I went through some rough times in 2017, and by the fall of that year, it was ugly. There were postpartum issues with depression and anxiety. My son was nearly 2 before that hit me, and I was completely clueless. And my husband turned 40 years old. He started talking to a new friend at work and fell hard into limerence. Meanwhile, I was at home being cranky and demanding and critical. In April of the next year, I asked him point blank if there was someone else. He hesitated. All of it after that was a blur. He said that he wanted a divorce amicably. I said, no, I don't believe in that. He moved into the guest bedroom. It wasn't until August of last year that I found Marriage Helper because a friend had guided me to you and helped me focus on myself and my issues and doing what I could and letting go of control. I thank God every time I think of that friend. I was doing pies without realizing it. I was on my knees in prayer a lot. I was doing yoga every day. I lost weight. I started to get out and do more things for me, focused on Bible studies, leaned into God into a way I didn't even know that I could. My husband and I went back and forth between being physically intimate. There was still the other woman in the picture, but I kept working on my pies. And I kept doing the things that I was supposed to do. He kept going back and forth. I did not start a relationship, did not talk to anyone else. Last Christmas was rough, the winter was rough, but by spring, I could see him warming up to me. He and the other woman were no longer speaking, and he did share that with me. I tried to empathize, and he played it off, though I knew at this point he was grieving. There was mediation that happened this year in February of 2019. It was a total waste of time and money, which upset him, but it also wasn't. It helped him to see that I wasn't backing down and that this was not going to be pretty, that we'd lose the house, which he thought that he would be able to keep. In March, he said that he was considering legal separation instead, but still wanted everything separated, but that he wanted to stay in the house. In May, right after a very nice Mother's Day, he sat me down and said he was considering putting a pause or stop on the divorce, that he wasn't sure, but he liked what he had seen in me, and he thought that it was best for our son. By June, the divorce case was dismissed. Ultimately, I did my best to keep the other woman out of my mind, which was easier said than done, and to focus on creating positive interactions with him and finding my walk with God. No pressure, no negative emotions around him, none. Letting him lead and being friendly, letting him know that he was welcome to join us as a family, and we continued doing all of those things, and ultimately still together to this day. So much goes into it. In her story, you hear some of the backstory of, yes, he was the one who had an affair, but there were other things that were going on. There was the depression, the postpartum, which, again, like when we start looking at this, there's so much in each relationship that affects it and that kind of makes this whirlwind of things that are happening to where what we teach are the foundational principles that give you that 80%. But again, each situation is unique, but the principles that we teach help in so many different types of situations that the principles, if you follow them, just like her story said, they still work. Even if my situation is going to be different than someone else's, but those principles are still going to work and lead to success, which is amazing.
Oh, it's exciting to hear the stories.